Yo guys, Shadow King here, and today I'll be bringing you part 3 of What if issei was reincarnated to the slime universe. So, before I begin, many of my subscribers who might have seen that my old channel was finally taken down. I'm gonna miss that channel. I'm gonna miss the videos I made on it. I'm pretty sure you guys are as well. But now is not the time to mourn the loss of my channel, but it is time to celebrate because I have arisen once again. Now, in the last part, Issei finished naming the goblins in Ranga, and and here's the thing. Since Issei is technically a devil now, would that affect them? Would it affect the goblins and direwolves, or would they just kind of like stay similar-ish? Like I don't really know because Rimmer was a slime, but Issei's a devil, so I just thought that like at least some differences would have occurred. So if you guys want some differences to occur, you guys can always tell me down in the comment section below. But anyways, so Issei would actually wake up in the next day due to his like devil biology, allowing him to like recover like almost instantaneously the next day. So as Issei just kind of wakes up, he's all like, "Whoa, where am I? What happened?" As great sages are like, you exhausted your magicals, but thanks to your devil biology, you were able to recover your magicals at an alarming rate, meaning that it only needed a day for you to recover. As Issei's are like, well, that's sweet, but still, what caused the magicule loss? As great sages are like, um, naming a monster takes up magicules. The more monsters you name, the more magicules you lose. And guess what you did? As he says, I like, named a bunch of monsters. Name a bunch of monsters. What do you think would have happened? As he says, I like, yeah, sorry. As Great Sage just kind of turns off, as Haruna or another goblina that was watching over Issei would say, Great Issei, you're awake. Or Lord Issei, you're awake. As he says, like, yes, I am, boobies. Like, he says boobies on the inside. As the Goblina would just kind of say, let me get Elder Rieger for you. As he says, like, yeah, sure. As he says, like, kind of consults with himself, saying, or consults with Great Sage, saying, Great Sage, how did a goblin get so busty? As he says, as Great Sages are like, thanks to your naming, it appears that goblin evolved into a goblina, and by my estimate, the other goblins or male goblins have evolved into hobgoblins. My guess is the reason she's so busty is because of your desire. As he says, like, my desire. That's actually pretty sweet if I can name some more monsters or or anything that has titties. As great sages are like, and now I immediately regret telling you. As he says, are like, what's that supposed to mean? As great sages are like, don't worry about it. And then Rieger would come in saying, like, Lord Issei, you're awake. As he says, are like, hey Rieger, who the fuck are you? Kind of freaking out a bit. As Rieger would say, no, it's Riegerd. Riegerd would say, like, this is because he gave us all names. As he says, like, alright. But he just, like, an older? Like, yesterday? As Riegerd would say, yes. But now, thanks to your naming, we have gotten a lot more power. Look at these muscles! I am bursting with energy. I feel younger already. And these are like, oh, yeah, let's go with that. And then Rango would just kind of burst through the whole door. As he's all like, Lord Issei. As Issei's all like, Ranga! Kind of like getting a little bit excited because it's all like, he kind of considers Ranga his like familiar that he just sort of failed to get that one time. And is all like, kind of jumps on Ranga saying like, so you evolved too. Sweet horn. As Ranga's all like, thanks! As he kind of begins like super wagging his tail. As Issei is almost flies away, but he kind of grabs onto Ranga's fur. As he's all like, Ranga, that's too much! And Ranga's all like, oh, sorry. Um, sorry, master. But hearing you praise me was just made me feel so excited. And Issei's all like, right, he's a wolf. Dogs. As Issei's all like, don't worry, Ranga. You're always a good boy. As Ranga's all like, yes, I am. As Issei's all like, it's so... I am just gonna like treasure this wolf. So Issei, after looking around and kind of gathering up the goblins to sort of, or hobgoblins and goblinas, he's all like, he begins assigning like kind of like missions. One would like gather food from the forest. One would go out patrol and report back if any dangerous monsters will come. That way they can like group up and strategize to like attack them. The other one would like build houses and defenses. And the other one, I think that was it. So they say Roger, and when they finish building the house, it just kind of tumbles to the ground. And he says, like, well, that happened. As Rigger is like, yeah, so embarrassing. As he says, like, think nothing of it. I sort of, never mind. Is there any way we can like get artisans or craftsmen to like help us build houses? As Rigger is all like, yes, the armed kingdom of Dwarvgon would most likely have people or dwarves like that. And he says like, yes, dwarves, the masters of craftsmanship. Since this is sort of like a fantasy world, I should expect some of the whole creatures that were depicted in games to be also in this world. Speaking of which, does that mean there are going to be some busty dryads or anything? As great sages are like, as Issei consults great sage, as great sages are like, I don't know. As Issei's are like, I thought you had the knowledge to everything. As great sages are like, I can help you answer questions. I never said I knew everything. As Issei just kind of like, kind of gets a little bit pissed, or just kind of just pouts, or just gets annoyed with Great Sage. As he says, like, all right, fine. We'll go to the kingdom of Dwargon. Are they friendly? As Rigard is like, yes. There is no fighting allowed in the Iron Kingdom of Dwargon. So, but it would still be best if you, if you took caution. As he says, like, yes. Alrighty then. As Issei just begins kind of assembling the goblins, well, hobgoblins and the direwolves along with Ranga, saying like, you guys are with me, which are going to be the same goblins as in canon. As Easy kind of gets on Ranga saying, "Let's go, Ranga." As Ranga's like, "Yes, master." As we kind of dash off, as Easy's just kind of yelling out in excitement, saying, "Whoa, this is awesome! Can you go any faster?" As Ranga says, "Yes, of course I can." As Ranga just kind of begins speeding off, as the other hobgoblins and Tempest Wolves are all like, um, those two are overexcited or like children. So after Issa kind of stops in one place and kind of letting the other goblin riders catch up, they sort of begin taking a break. As Issa is all like, I didn't think about it, kind of sitting up in a tree or by the lake, as he's all like, I haven't really summoned out the boosted gear in a while. I wonder what's. I wonder if I can like summon it out, or if it's still with me. As Issei kind of begins focusing, as then a loud shout is her saying, "Boost!" As Issei's like, "Yes, it's still here." As then in the next second, Drake is all like, "What the hell were you doing?" Or "What the hell? I had a full house on Valdora. What the hell?" As Issei's all like, "Wait, who are you?" As Drake is all like, "I am Why Drake Gush, the Red Dragon Emperor, and you just ruined the whole poker game. I was this close to beating Valdora." As he says, like, "You were playing poker with Valdora, who's inside my second stomach?" As Drake is all like, "Yes, I am. So what do you need me for?" As he says, like, "Oh, nothing. I just was wondering if I still had the boosted gear with me." As Drake is all like, "Well then, you learned. Now de-summon me so I can finish kicking Valdora's ass in poker." As he says, like, "Okay, okay, fine." As he kind of de-summons Wisagir, saying, even Valdora was more nicer than Drake. As on the inside of Issei's stomach, or second stomach, Drake comes back saying, "Ah, well, that was rude." As Valdora's like, "Ha, I win." As Drake is like, "Issei, you bastard!" Alright, fine. Let's do this again. This time, I this time we won't have any interruptions by a resident dragon emperor or resident devil. As Vador is saying, "You're just salty because you lost." As Jake is like, "Beside the point." So, as Valdora then says, "So, are we ever gonna tell him about her in the corner?" As Drake is all like, "Honestly, the pain she caused Issei was too much. Not to So if we tell him about her right now, it would just make him even more depressed, pissed off, or he would try to destroy her. It'd be best if Issei kind of recovers from from what she did to him." As brothers are like, "Yeah, I see your point. Are you sure we should just leave her there in a corner, just kind of crying to herself? I mean, she like pretty much hasn't stopped crying and kind of stopped and hasn't stopped asking for forgiveness to Azazel Azazel and Issei." As Drake is all like, "Trust me, um, Issei would kind of go ballistic to realize that she's sort of still alive-ish." As Drake and as others are like, "Yeah, good point. So, who's shuffling?" As Drake is all like, "I am." As the person in the corner would just kind of continue doing what she's doing, huddle up, just kind of saying, "Please forgive me." As Issei would just kind of ask the same question with Ranga, saying like, "Are you mad, or have you ever like thought of like taking revenge on me for killing your father?" As Ranga would still kind of say the same thing as in canon, saying, "Even though I lost my father, you did spare my entire clan, and what my father did was sort of foolish. Even after I tried to stop him, but I'm still glad that you spared the rest of us." As he says, like, "Yeah, don't mention it. So let's get going, or so let's rest here for the night." As he just kind of climbs on top of Ranga and just kind of pulls a blanket out of nowhere and just kind of covers himself up, saying, "Good night, Ranga." Ranga's like, "Good night, master." So Issei, um, Issei and the Goblin Rider will still continue their way to the armed nation of Dwarfgon, and would still stop in the trees. And this time, Issei would actually take Rieger and Gapta with him. As they're kind of waiting in line, as these things are like kind of taps his foot impatiently, or just kind of like messing around with the sticky steel thread skill, as he just kind of begins making a bunch of different things, as Tokyo Tower, a dragon. They're just being bored. As he says, like, "Oh my god, this is so boring." And since Issei and the rest kind of got there a little bit earlier than in canon, the thugs that try to rob them wouldn't actually be there, I think. Not really say if that was like they hung around there or they just arrived at the Honor City of Dwargon. So my guess is that the thugs aren't there. So Issei, Gapta, and Rieger would make it into the Honor City of Dwargon fairly easily, as they just kind of begin walking around and exploring until they just hear a roar in the distance. As Issei kind of like stops in his place, saying, "Is that what I think it was?" As great sages are like, "Yes, it is." As he's all like, "Thanks," saying, "Using my double wings would attract too much attention, but this is like a peaceful nation. But in this case, I don't think the dwarves would trust a double like me. So my best bet is to use mimicry." As he uses mimicry to turn into a Tempest Starwolf, as he's all like, "You guys wait around here. I'll take care of them." As he kind of just begins jumping to the direction here to roar, and some of the dwarven guards saying, "What the hell is that thing?" As he says, like, "Don't worry, I'm here to help. Our resources are no match for me." As he kind of begins charging into the attack, he does think about swinging drag, but he doesn't want to get yelled at again. So he's like, "Meh, you're on the shelf for now." As Issei kind of begins saving the dwarves and sort of kind of rips apart um, the Armosaurus, is as after he's done, he de-transforms, saying, "If I only got here sooner, I could have saved them all. Wait, why am I thinking this stuff? Why did I immediately rush in just to help them? I could have just let them handle them themselves, but why?" As Great Sage just kind of goes into his mind, saying, "Did you really forget the promise you made over 10 years ago?" As Issei's are like, "Huh? What do you mean?" Um, as Great Sages are like, kind of replays the memory of him and Irin. I think that was the boyish name that Irina picked. I think as it shows like a child version of Issei and a child Irin, or what Issei thinks is Irin, but we all know it's Irina, pretending to be a boy. As he kind of sees the whole pinky promise or the promise that they both made, saying like to grow to become heroes, as Issei just kind of like after he's done with the whole flashback, he's all like, right, how can I forget that promise I made with him? As great sages are like, her. As he says, are like, excuse me, her. As he says, are like, yes, I heard you the first time, but what do you mean by her? As as great sages are like, the him is actually a her, the boy that you talk to, quote unquote. As he says, are like, wait, so you're saying to me that I was friends with a girl and I didn't realize it? As great sages are like, to be fair, you were 6 at the time. As he says, are like, oh my gosh. Uh, okay, first things first. As before he acts, he gets kind of tapped on the shoulder by a dwarf guard, saying like, as he kind of gets out of his sight, saying like, yes. As the dwarf guard is like, thank you, sir, for helping us take down these armored sources. These things came out of nowhere. As he says like, oh right, yeah, don't mention it. As the guards is all like, unfortunately, many of them died. Not to mention, um, we got some injured, and I don't think we have enough healing potions because of the whole preparations for. I honestly forgot what they were preparing against for. Oh well. As he says, like, well, do you have a barrel or something that to contain a lot of liquid? As the guard is all like, yeah, actually, follow me. As he says, like, okay then. So he says that to a barrel. He kind of sticks out his hand and just kind of drops in like a lot of healing potions, saying, like, use a healing potion. As the dwarven guard is all like, how did you magic? Huh? Seems legit. As he says, like, great sage, I can't believe that worked. As great sages are like, of course it worked. As he says, like, okay, fine. As Issa would then reunite with Rieger and Gopta, telling them what happened, as they just kind of look up to him with admiration, saying like, "Oh, you're so cool, sir." Yes, I believe if I was there, that would have been awesome to see. As he says, like, "Yes, yes, keep praising me more." So the dwarven guard would kind of like return with the 3 dwarf brothers who he helped save. As the 3 of them begin thanking him, saying like, "If it wasn't for you, I would have lost my arm. If it wasn't for you, I would have bled to death." Pretty much just kind of saying what they said in the original canon. As he says, like, yes. Also, I also had a request to look in for some artisans in craftsmen. As the 3 dwarf brothers are all like, well, you're in luck. We are artisans and craftsmen. As he says, like, oh shit, really? Do you guys also have a smith? With as the 3 dwarf brothers are like, well, none of us are smiths, but we do know a very good smith. As he says, like, oh, that's sweet. Can you take me to him? As the 3 of them are like, yes, follow us. So they arrive at Kaijin's workshop, kind of like saying hi to Kaijin, and he's sort of introducing himself, kind of stating what he wants. As Kaijin's like, well, I'd love to help, but I'm sort of stuck on this back order by that bastard Minister Vesta. I'm supposed to make 20 magic steel longswords, and I only got like 3 of them done. As he's like, well, that sucks. Wait a minute, magic steel? Great sage. As great sages are like, yes, you can use the materials, or take out the materials from your stomach, but it would still take too long for him to craft it. As he says, like, I know, but I got another idea. As great sages are like, what are you planning? As he says, like this. As Issa would just kind of ask to look at the magic steel sword that he created. As he's like, yes, I see. As then he kind of just sort of absorbs it into his stomach or second stomach. As he's all like great sage, analyze, has great sages are like analyzing, replicating, creating 20 identical longswords. As Issei just kind of like drops 20 longswords into onto the floor. As Issei's like, does that help? As Kaijin is like, yes, that helps out a lot. But still, how were you able to, as he says, like analyzing, replicating, and using the magic steel, or magic ore in my stomach, or second stomach, I was able to replicate it. Simple as that. As Kaijin gets a little bit offended, but just kind of laughs it off, saying, "Well, then I'll just um, submit these to the guards, and we'll go out to see some beautiful elves tonight." And he's like, yes, yes, we'll do. Did you just say elves? As Kaijin's like, yes, I did. There's this one place where it's really popular to bring in elves, or because of the elves. As he says, like, elves, elves. As he kind of begins fanboying on the inside, as Jag is just annoyed, Veldora just takes this chance to like beat Drake in a game again. As he's like, okay then, I'll come with you, and we'll have no problems, right? Or just to repay this, and you'll just listen to my request when we get there, right? As Kaijin is like, yes. Now, let's prepare because tonight we're gonna have fun. As he says, as they all just kind of jump, saying, "Yeah." So, um, they would just kind of sneak out the back as Rieger and Gata are just kind of sitting, waiting for Issei to return. As they just kind of think that, wow, negotiations must be pretty rough for him to be stuck in there for that long. So they just kind of wait there as Issei just kind of totally forgot about them. I mean, to be fair, Issei would literally drop anything to just see like a babe with huge chest. So Issei, even though he ditched him, he did it unintentionally. So as soon as they get to the open bar, it's open to see like a bunch of beautiful girls with a bunch of like chests. Even some of the small ones do have chests. As they just kind of like begin pulling him around, as he's all like, "Look at this cute little boy." As he says, all like, "They call me cute. I am in heaven." As he just kind of begins to like, kind of toss around until finally they sit down with Issei either being on the lap, sitting on the lap of an elf, or laying, or having using a elf as a lap pillow. As Kaijin and the other dwarven brothers are like, "Wow, you must be pretty excited to see some elves, aren't you?" As they say, so like, to be fair, this is the first time I've actually seen an elf. I heard many legends about elf, but I never actually seen one. So this is actually my first time seeing an elf. And the elves are like, "So this is your first time seeing one of us?" As he says, like, "Yeah." And the legends were true. Elves really are the best. As one of the elves who has a crystal ball saying, kind of pulls out said crystal ball, saying like, well, if what you heard about elves were true, then what about this? As he says, like, huh, what's that? As the elf girl is all like, this is a crystal ball, and this would actually allow me to see the woman you're destined to be with. As he says, like, the woman I'm destined to be with. As he kind of says, um, if you don't mind, can you? As the elf is all like, yes, I will. Remember, this one is free of charge. As he says, like, yeah. So the crystal ball just kind of, as she kind of begins looking into the crystal ball, as Issei just kind of leans forward, saying, "I wonder who's it gonna be?" As in, it shows to be continued.